is Bo. I attend the University of Florida. Yeah, I'm from Iowa.
Hi, my name is Eddie Pina. I am from Chicago.
I'm Charlie McCracken. I'm from West Central Wisconsin.
My name is Jake Schneider. I'm from St. Louis and I live in Chicago.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Does that answer all of
No, just open the floor to any questions. I guess I'll moderate.
Yeah.
Anybody have a question for them?
It's about character, relationships, that kind of thing. Like it's always pretty varied. It's never like kind of the same father, son, blah blah blah. You guys find a lot of different venues for relationships. Is that like a conscious effort, or is it something that with 9 years of experience comes pretty easy?
A little bit of both. After 9 years, I not that I know what they're going to do, but I have an idea of where it's going to go. So I can choose a character that I feel will offset what they would do. So and that comes from experience, but then just to kind of make it interesting for yourself, when I'm not playing with these guys, I try to make distinctive, unique choices in characters just to kind of make it interesting for myself.
It's also like, I think it is a little bit have to do with, I've been playing for almost 10 years with each other, that we look to try to surprise each other with what we're doing. So we've played husband, wives, fathers, sons, daughters, whatever, thousands of times already, so we try to look for something a little bit different sometimes.
Yeah.
How young or old were you guys when you like figured out that improv was your thing? That like you wanted to do it and like you were like it's what you want to do for like fun in the rest of your life and stuff. If you plan on doing it the rest of your life, I guess that's a bad
Tonight is
assumption.
my last show.
I moved to Chicago when I was 21 to study improv, but I didn't know what it was. Oh, Chicago's a good place to do improv. I'll go, oh, that sounds great. I'll go do that. But I didn't know what it was until I took a class. But it worked out all right.
You didn't know what it was until you moved here?
No, I did not.
But you wanted to do
I moved to Chicago to take classes, but I didn't know what it was.
I think that's such a good example of just like following your heart. And I think if this tickles you, you gotta follow it without overthinking it.
He didn't know what it was.
Don't worry.
Just look it up on the
Perkins
computer.
told me you should do improv. I said okay, and somebody else. Somebody at a Perkins restaurant. You should do improv, and then somebody else said, "Oh, they do that in Chicago. You should do Chicago." And then I moved to Chicago.
A great example of like yes, like you know, like you. It doesn't have to be more complicated than that.
So aside from Charlie, you guys all moved to Chicago, maybe not just because you wanted to do improv. Like, what brought everybody there? I mean, you already lived there,
My
but
parents brought me.
Yeah, I went to undergrad there, and I didn't know, I was pretty oblivious to the whole thing for those 4 years. So I took my first class after I was in Chicago for like 4.5 years or something. So.
I had taken classes in high school and in college, and then I dropped out of college and figured I should do something to take up my time or I was going to get in trouble. So I started taking classes and it worked out.
I was at the Conservatory of Theater Arts in Webster University in St. Louis, and one of my teachers kept telling me, stop making improvements on the script. She said you'd be better off in Chicago, and I never knew what she meant by that.
I just moved because of the improv scene, which is only like tripled since I've been there, so it's crazy. Yeah.
I have a question. Because we do a lot of free shows for Theater Strike Force. Does it change your mentality when you're out there when you know like people are paying to see you? Like when you're performing, like if this sucks, like they won't want their money back. Sort of thing.
Honestly, our shows are usually like mind blowing, and tonight we kind of just phoned it in. You need to see us in a paid venue.
No, I mean, I think it definitely affects you. Only probably prior to the show, it's just another thing to worry about, you know? But then I mean, that's the fun of this, is that you get on stage and pretty much, hopefully you forget about that, you know?
Yeah, you still gotta look them in the eye.
Totally.
Still gotta see them.
Yeah.
Not everybody's gonna be happy.
But you can't let that affect your show, you know, because it has. In the end, it doesn't really matter. What matters is the performance, you know. So you can't worry about whether or not the audience is going to like your show before the show. You just kind of have to go out there and listen and be a good scene partner and make bold choices and be supportive and have fun.
Because they booked you to do the show that you normally do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And unless they ask you for something specifically different, then don't change it.
And you can force compliments from the audience too by standing near the bathrooms after a show. If they've seen you do it, they will say good show no matter what they actually thought about it. So that way it feels great no matter what. Yeah, stand at the door, just like look them directly in the eyes.
Hi!
Yeah, you're
On
like,
the eye after the show.
works.
And he's like, I got so many compliments.
I was in the stall with the lady.
Okay, so what do y'all do for like your day jobs, or what do you do to like help things? You know, because if you live on improv, that's great. But if not, what do you do to help make ends meet? Or what did you see yourself doing, like not improv, like an accountant, a lawyer, whatever that is?
Groupon's hiring.
Teaching assistant at the University of Florida. So. I mean, we've all had different types of jobs.
A lot of times when you first move to Chicago, you get like sort of a office job or job serving, you know what I mean? And at least initially, it's hard your first few years to make money off of doing something hyper creative. But the longer you do this work, it's amazing. A lot of our friends who've been around, we're all able to make money, not all, but a lot of us are able to make money using some form of creativity, either related to improv or improv directly. So there's a lot in Chicago in that way, just so in case anybody's ever like, will I ever be able to make money doing this? There are. I mean, it's not like you usually won't get like health benefits with those kind of jobs. You can like make a living being an artist, you know. But usually this is what my experience is, the most creative things like writing your own shows or doing improv with the people you really love usually doesn't pay. So you've got to have a few of those to keep you sane, to like remember what it is that makes your heart beat. But it's nice to have a day job you don't hate. Like that's like, oh, this also works my brain and my heart in the creative realm. So, you know, it's different for everybody. There's money definitely to be made in Chicago teaching improv, directing improv, coaching improv. So you're still like doing improv. If you're an improv junkie, you're set.
But there are people out there that are attorneys and stuff that have straight jobs and choose to perform at night, you know. So you can do it. You can have a job that you like and still perform at night. It's kind of a nice balance.
Hi. But yeah, so I don't know if many people know this, but how did you guys come together? Like, were you cast onto a team, or were you friends?
We all came from faraway planets. Sharna, who is the owner and runs everything at IO, picked us to be on the same team, and it was...
There are 8 of us.
8 of us.
Because she put together a group of 10, 2 people left, and then myself and another player, Brian Jacker, added on shortly thereafter.
But this is what I'll say about that. Like there are organizations in Chicago that put groups together, like especially at IO, you get put together with a Herald team. But I would say it's all like the statistics of it being people that you just hyper connect to, and that they're the people that you're like, oh my God, I want to spend 10 years, maybe 45 years, like just doing improv with you. it's like on the slower end, what happens usually in order to get that is you put it together. So I always really encourage people to be proactive. Like if you're in a class and you're like, I love playing with you, you inspire me, and I like you off stage. If you have both of those things, like be like, hey, do you want to create a group? And it doesn't matter what size. That could be a 2-person group or it could be a 10-person group. And those are the groups that I see are the most successful in Chicago. Are people who are like, we love each other and we balance each other, we're inspired by each other. So although we were really lucky that it was like something put us together and we connected, I'd never like encourage you to be like, just hang out, wait around, see if people put you together. Like strangely, I don't like over encourage that. I encourage being like really proactive, and most of my favorite groups to watch are people who are like, hey, I really enjoy playing with you, do you want to be in a group? And then they create themselves, and then like 7 or 8 years later, they're touring doing improv, which is awesome.
When you were in classes, what was one of your favorite lessons, or one of the favorite lessons that you guys learned that always stuck with you? I mean, I'm sure they all stuck with you, but one of your favorite?
One lesson that I've taken throughout my improv career is the fact that anything is possible. Just because you start your scene working a jackhammer and the other guys start to scene fly fishing doesn't mean that those two things can't live together. So I really appreciate that anything is possible on stage. And if you're just agree and you're a good scene partner, you make good choices, you'll have fun. So it's just,
Yeah, my first, I guess, big lesson was I was actually taking improv classes, the Piven Theater Workshop, which is in Evanston, north of Chicago, and that class had all these different kinds of people, older people, and an older woman in the class in the middle of one of our scenes like turned into a chicken. And like I think my initial reaction was like, you aren't a chicken, you weren't a chicken before, now you're a chicken. Like calling it out and kind of probably making fun of her a little bit, and the teacher kind of corrected me and said, no, she's a thing that turns into chickens in the middle of stuff, so you have to, affirm that and play with that. And so that was a big deal,
What has been... Oh, sorry.
Who's going to ask you a question?
We'll ask it together.
Okay. What is your most intimidating venue?
This one.
We did the Chicago Theater for IO's 25th anniversary show, where they had all of the celebrity alumni came back, and we were the only current playing.
We basically talked our way into the show.
Right, we were allowed to come in, and they were going to have this celebrity herald, right?
Right.
But the joke was that none of them know how to do an opening, so they're going to have us come and do the opening for their show. So it was this, what is it, 5,000
It was
seat
huge.
theater, sold out.
historic theater.
They've never done a tech rehearsal. The show started, they're like, oh, none of our microphones work. We can't do it. After a half an hour into the show.
You can
Long
see exactly what he's talking about on
You
a
can get it on
DVD or
TV.
somewhere.
It's on
right?
Netflix.
It's on
You can find it on
Netflix.
Netflix.
Yes, yeah.
So it's a
and it's
technical
terrible.
nightmare.
So we had to
horrible.
restart the show again.
And we had to do improvs with handheld mics.
You had to do an opening.
An opening.
No, and it was on a stand actually. Yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
each of us had to approach the mic and do It's
Oh
terrible.
man.
You're really drunk, so.
Yeah, we had makeup.
Oh
just-
yeah,
on
we
our
did
hair
early
done.
because they were filming it for
People were
HD.
leaving in droves.
Yeah.
Because they
But
couldn't hear the show.
one thing that was really cool from that show is all the people backstage who were like celebrities and hadn't done improv for a long time. They were like, "This is as good as it gets. What you're in right now is as good as it gets," and that was so cool to hear because you think that when it's really good is when you're making money, And they're like, "Oh no, you guys all know each other and you love each other and you play with each other every week." Because they were like, "What's an opening?" Like they don't do improv. A lot of them don't do improv anymore. So it was like, yeah, wait a minute. It was nice to be reminded by somebody of like, this place right now that you're at, like you guys right now doing improv at a college with all these awesome people to support you and to watch you and to grow and to experiment is like, I don't know if it gets any better than that, So if you're like, oh, I just can't wait to get through this to get to the next thing, it's like, you guys, like I would say that to you guys of like, oh my God, like this is awesome,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you guys see yourself doing anything after your improv careers, or do you just want to do that until you die?
You guys decide now?
Eddie?
Well, I don't know. I have 2 kids, so I'll do this as long as they let me. You know, they're very young, so. Yeah.
It seems like we don't really know. I mean, if we learn any lesson from improv, it's like self-reliance. But I do think like if you're hardwired to do improv, which I'm sure all of you are, it's like I can't picture myself not doing improv, but you never know how it will manifest. Like it might be like you improv and then you create plays out of it, and then you go and you do a play in New York for a while. But you're still kind of doing improv, it's just a different form. Or maybe like do this like improv-based movie. Or you know what I mean? Like it ends up expressing itself in different ways. But I can't imagine all of the people that I get to play with on The Reckoning, I can't imagine one day anybody coming in and being like, I'm tired of this. I think we're just all too hardwired to be like, this is just one of the best ways to be.
It's addictive.
How did you guys deal with when you were like training? 1 week being like, oh, I'm the fucking shittiest in the world, and then the next week like, oh no, I'm the best, and then the week after that like, no, I'm the fucking shittiest. How did you guys?
I never thought I was the best. I can say that.
How did you guys deal with that like volatile?
I mean, that still happens. Man.
You need to go to the next class because you know that like this class sucked. I got to get to the next one quick because I was bad in that one, and the next one will be better.
It.
Yeah.
Everyone's goes through
I
it.
go through months of it. Like, man, this
Yeah.
is terrible. I am awful at this. I've played the same. I've initiated the same scene in every show.
Yeah.
for 3 months.
A lot of working on a railroad. I've never done any manual work in my life. I'm doing something.
Remember when you went through that phase where you would only play characters that would poop in tents?
When you got a card like that, you gotta play.
Sometimes what helps is going in and doing a show with different people, like finding a new class, a new show, something outside of improv to inspire you, to refuel you, to give yourself new material, so that you're not just pulling for things. Sometimes you get so wrapped up in improv that there's no material for you to pull from and to present on the stage, because all I can do is reference improv, because that's all I do is see shows and go to classes. I don't have that, so I've got to go like take a walk. Let's see, and like, oh, I'm gonna buy something. I'm gonna talk to a stranger. Let's see what's going on here. Bless you.
We'll take like 3 more questions and we'll let you guys go.
Go on.
At TSF we have an academy and there are a few like teachers and coaches here. Like what kind of advice would you give to like a teacher and a coach, like people who are kind of in that position?
My opinion is the coach should exist like a ghost or like a spirit. And so, yeah. So, you know, haunt them. But you're not in the shows and you're not what the audience sees, and it's about them, and ultimately it's their experience that's important. So just making sure that that's what the focus is, about their experience together, and ultimately their experience with the audience.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. And I think too, like that idea of a ghost is a good point, because everyone has their own voice as a performer, and it's really hard sometimes as a coach or director to be like, oh, your voice is so different, but it's wonderfully valid, and how do I help you if you may have a different voice than me, without ever like stifling or saying like that's wrong, because I don't believe in rules. So like I don't believe in the who, what, where, or you can't say no, or you can't ask questions. I don't believe in any of that stuff. So it's like, because I believe it has to be about the love for the self, the love for your players, and the love for the craft. You know what I mean? Like if that's there, everything else will take off. The confidence and the joy, the skill and the risk, that will take care of everything. So I mean, I agree. I think you work them hard in rehearsals. You run them through drills, because it's all about experience and less about the talk. That sitting around and talking about it isn't going to make them better. You run them through drills. You get them in their body, because they know when it worked and they know when it doesn't. So you really don't have to tell them.
half of your job is also like just getting everyone to calm down.
Yeah.
Take it easy. We're making believe. Right? It's not a big deal. There's many of those rules as you can take away and those lessons that you can not give them and just be like, play. It's all okay. You're gonna be fine.
Yeah, you're not a psychiatrist, you're not a therapist, you don't have to like treat anyone, you know, just give them notes, rehearse, be honest with them.
And Improvise, I think, is a great book. I mean, books are tricky with improv because they can get into the rules, but I think Improvise is an awesome book. So it's like if you're gonna read one book, that would be the one I would read.
Yeah.
Like together as a group, or after
Not
this much time, it's like, oh.
Once upon a time. We haven't rehearsed really in like 4 or 5 years.
Our first show in 4 or 5 years.
We had a rehearsal slot Tuesday night, so we just kind of opened up to the public and it became our show night. But,
like as a second show.
Yeah, we had a regular Herald show, and then we started letting people. We started staging our rehearsals.
We let them.
And then we just stopped doing our Herald shows, and we only rehearse, so we don't really do shows.
I like that, actually. We don't really do shows anymore, we only rehearse. I mean, when we started, we were super nerds, and we were rehearsing twice a week for 3 hours both times with, you know, different, and we were lucky enough to work with this guy, TJ, who's like a great artist, and so I think we pushed hard at the top, and then once we got our running legs, it was like, let's just go. What were you gonna say, Jake?
That's it.
How can we best take advantage of our time here in college? Are there any pitfalls to miss or opportunities to seize?
Dude, get laid.
Now's your time to perform. Lock the doors.
Just have fun.
Yeah, experience life voraciously.
I was going to say everything in moderation, but that's not what I'm Yeah, all right. Be in bed by 10, guys.
It seems like you're doing it.
Do
It
it.
really does. I mean, your show was awesome, so it's like.
Yeah, you guys had a fun show.
So it's like, keep doing that. And all like, I mean, I live it up.
Don't ruin your credit. You'll be 35 and fucking mad.
Start. Here's just a thought, tangible, possible thought is write down on a piece of paper things you're thankful for from now and again. Especially when it comes to the improv world, because it's a very supportive environment you got right here. But then, you know, when you move to a new city, there's just in general a lot of new things that you're going to be facing. So one's confidence will meet some challenges, and the more you begin practicing, just being thankful for what you have, you're less likely to get caught up in wanting these things that you don't. Because there's a really good chance that, I mean, this is a really nice thing you got right here. And so the next thing will be great the more you appreciate what you have here, because you'll appreciate whatever that new thing is going to be when it happens to you. So write it down, even if you lose.
We're going to go down to the Swamp Restaurant, have a reception there for a little bit, so you guys are all welcome to join us there. It's on University Avenue. If you don't know where it is, you probably haven't lived here that long. But come talk to me. I'll be over here. Thank you all again so much for coming out. One more time for the reckoning.